How's it going, people? We are back. We're back. Took a week off last week. As y'all know, if you listen to the last episode, it was my son's birthday. So, I took off the whole week for my little boy, man. I had a good time with the family. Now it's back time for this grind work week. We back out here working. But we got to keep God first, and we're going to continue this journey of reading the whole Bible. So, I appreciate y'all who've been on this journey with me. And if you're new here, welcome. And let's get straight to it. Now, if you haven't already, wherever you listening to this on whatever platform, whether this is YouTube or any of the streaming platforms, like, subscribe, follow, however how you want to do it. Follow the Instagram account, waves.of.unity. And keep up with us, man. Let's be a big community. This is Waves of Unity, you know what I mean? So this is all about keeping us together, so we can all do this together. Because we all want to get to God. Judgment day come, or whenever He take our last breath, we want to be able to say that we did it. All right. So we previously stopped, I think, Genesis 28, and yeah, we still reading about Jacob. So we about to pick up Genesis 29, and I'm reading in the let me tell you what translation I'm about to read. I'm using the Legacy Standard Bible. Now you can use whatever translation that you feel is best for you to read and following along, and whatever works for you. Like I said, if you follow the Instagram account, or if you're watching this on YouTube or whatever, drop down what you interpret from this episode. All right, comment. Let's make a discussion out of this. I might not see something. I'm gonna be reading, but that don't mean I don't know everything. I'm just like you. I'm an average person. I'm a regular working guy. I ain't no pastor, no bishop, none of that. I'm just a regular person who trying to get closer to God. So we all in this together. So each one teach one. All right. Now, what I like to do is pray before we get started. So my favorite prayer is the Lord's Prayer. So let's get it started. Bow your heads and close your eyes. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our trespasses, and we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. And thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. All right. Now, we got to pray that God give us clear understanding in what we about to read and whatnot. And if I don't understand something, I pray that, He'll give it to me or give it to one of you, and we all can come together and give that knowledge to each other. For those of y'all that don't know, I am a truck driver. If you're watching this on video, you can see that I'm inside my truck. And with me being inside my truck, I am in a truck stop. So if you happen to hear any horns or anything like that in my background, I apologize. But I'm going to try to make sure that this mic on my phone is as clear as possible so you can hear my voice. All right? It's the evening time, so a lot of people are starting to shut down and do what they got to do so they can get running the next morning, so they can bring the goods that you need to a city near you. All right. But anyway, let's get to it. Genesis chapter 29, verse 1. Let me take my gum out. You're not supposed to talk with gum in your mouth. Anyway. Then Jacob took up his journey and came to the land of the sons of the east. And he looked, and behold, a well in the field, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep were lying there beside it. For from that well they gave water to the flocks to drink. Now the stone on the mouth of the well was large, and all the flocks would be gathered there. And they will roll the stone from mouth of the well and give water to the sheep to drink, and return to the stone back to his place on the mouth of the well. And Jacob said to them, My brothers, where are you from? And they said, We are from Haran. Then he said to them, Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? And they said, We know him. And he said to them, Is it well with him? And they said, It is well. And here is Rachel, his daughter, coming with the sheep. And he said, Behold, it is still high day. It is not time for the livestock to be gathered. Give water to the sheep to drink and go pasture them. But they said, We cannot until all the flocks are gathered. And they rolled the stone from the mouth of the well. Then we give water to the sheep to drink. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. Now it happened, when Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, Jacob came near and rolled the stone from the mouth of the well and gave water to the flock of Laban, his mother's brother, to drink. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and lifted his voice and wept. And Jacob told Rachel that he was a relative of her father, and that was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. So it happened that when Laban heard the report of Jacob, his sister's son, he ran to meet him, and he embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his house. Then he recounted to Laban all these things. And Laban said to him, Surely you are my bone and my flesh. And he stayed with him 1 month. Hold on just for a second, guys. I gotta make sure this video don't get interrupted. So I gotta put that on Do Not Disturb. All right, let's keep going. Verse 15. Then Laban said to Jacob, Because you are my relative, should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what shall your wages be? Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. And Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and beautiful in appearance. Now Jacob loved Rachel, so he said, I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel. And Laban said, It is better that I give her to you than to give her to another man. Stay with me. So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they were in his sight but a few days because of his love for her. Laban deceives Jacob. All right, verse 21. Then Jacob said to Laban, Give me my wife, for my days are fulfilled, that I may go into her. And Laban gathered all the men of the place and made a feast. Now it happened in the evening that he took his daughter Leah and brought her to him. And Jacob went in to her. Laban also gave his servant woman Zilpah to his daughter Leah as a servant woman. Now it happened in the morning that, behold, it was Leah. And he said to Laban, What is this you have done to me? Was it not for Rachel that I served with you? Why then have you deceived me? But Laban said, It is not the practice in our place to give the younger before the firstborn. Fulfill the week of this one, and we will give you the other one also for the service which you shall serve with me for another 7 years. And Jacob did so, and fulfilled her week, and he gave him his daughter Rachel as his wife. Laban also gave his servant woman Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as a servant woman. So Jacob went in to Rachel also, and indeed he loved Rachel more than Leah, and he served with Laban for another 7 years. Let's stop right there right quick. So this man had to serve this guy 7 years for his daughter, but turned around and had to serve another 7 years for the other daughter. So in other words, this man put up 14 years for 2 different women all together. That's some love right there. That's some love. I don't think many men will do that. That's some love right there. All right, verse 31. And Yahweh saw that Leah was unloved, and he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. So Leah conceived and bore a son, and named him Reuben. For she said, because Yahweh has seen my affliction, surely now my husband will love me. Then she conceived again and bore a son, and said, because Yahweh has heard that I am unloved, he has therefore given me this son also. So she named him Simeon. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, now this time my husband will be joined to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore he was named Levi. And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, this time I will praise Yahweh. Therefore she named him Judah. Then she stopped bearing. Wow. They was having them kids back to back. But his the woman that he wanted to be with can't even have children. It's crazy how that works. The woman that you don't want get all the kids from you, but the woman that you do want can't bear not one child. Let's keep going. We on Genesis 30. Let's keep rolling. Then Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children. So she became jealous of her sister. And she said to Jacob, give me children or else I die. Then Jacob's anger burned against Rachel. And he said, am I in the place of God, who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb? And she said, here is my maidservant Bella. Go into her that she may bear on my knees, that through her I too may attain children. Let's stop right there. I think it was what we read before. Didn't Abraham had to go through this with Sarah's servant? See, history repeating itself. Let's see if Rachel get jealous or not. All right. Where was I? Okay, verse 4. So she gave him her servant woman Bella as a wife, and Jacob went into her. And Bella conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, God has rendered justice to me, and has indeed listened to my voice, and had given me a son. Therefore she named him Dan. And Rachel's servant woman Bella conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. So Rachel said, with mighty wrestlings I have wrestled with my sister, and I have indeed prevailed. And she named him Naphtali. I think I pronounced that right. If I didn't pronounce that right, y'all can correct me, all right? Then Leah saw that she had stopped bearing, so she took her servant woman Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. And Leah's servant woman Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, how fortunate. So she named him Gad. Jacob is getting busy, okay? He out here making babies everywhere. When God said be fruitful and multiply, Jacob took that seriously. All right. Oh, man. And Leah's servant woman Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, happy am I, for women will call me happy. So she named him Asher. And in the days of the wheat harvest, Reuben went and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, please give me some of your son mandrakes. But she said to her, is it a small matter for you to take my husband? And would you take my son mandrakes also? So Rachel said, therefore he will lie with you tonight in return for your son mandrakes. Then Jacob came in from the field in the evening, and Leah went out to meet him and said, you must come in to me, for I have surely hired you with my son's mandrakes. So he lay with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a 5th son. And Leah said, God has given me my wages, because I have gave my servant woman to my husband. So she named him Issachar. I hope I pronounced that right, Issachar. Then Leah conceived again and bore the 6th son to Jacob. And Leah said, God has gifted me a good gift. This time my husband will honor me, because I have borne him 6 sons. So she named him Zebulun. Afterward, she bore a daughter and named her Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God listened to her and opened her womb. So she conceived and bore a son and said, God has taken away my reproach. And she named him Joseph, saying, may Yahweh give me another son. Two sisters just compete, who can give this man the most kids. Man, sisters, we gotta do better. We gotta do better. You can't be competing. Now, this is verse 25. Now it happened when Rachel had borne Joseph, that Jacob said to Laban, send me away, that I may go my own place to my own land. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served you, and let me go. For you yourself know my service which I have rendered you. But Laban said to him, if now I have found favor in your sight, stay with me. I have interrupted an omen that Yahweh has blessed me on your account. And he continued to say, name me your wages, and I will give it. But he said to him, you yourself know how I have served you, and how your livestock have fared with me. For you had little before I came, but it has spread out to multitude, and Yahweh has blessed you at every step of mine. But now, when shall I provide for my own household also? So he said, what shall I give you? And Jacob said, you should not give me anything. If you would do this one thing for me, I will again pasture and keep your flock. Let me pass through your entire flock today, removing from there every speckled and spotted sheep and every black one among the lambs, and the spotted and speckled among the goats. And such shall be my wages. So my righteousness will answer for me later. And when you come concerning my wages, everyone that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and black among the lambs, if found with me, will be considered stolen. And Laban said, behold, let it be according to your word. So he removed on that day the striped and spotted male goats and all the speckled and spotted female goats, every one with white in it, and all the black ones among the sheep, and gave them into the care of his sons. And he put a distance of 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob was pasturing the rest of Laban's flocks. Then Jacob took fresh rods of poplar and almond and plane trees, and he peeled white stripes in them, exposing the white which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had peeled in front of the flocks in the trough, that is, in the watering channels, where the flocks came to drink. And they made it when they came to drink. So the flocks made it by the rods, and the flocks brought forth striped, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob separated the lambs, and he made the flocks face forward, the striped, and all the black in the flock of Laban. And he set his own herds apart, and did not set them with Laban's flock. Now it would be that whenever the stronger of the flock were mating, Jacob would place the rods in the sight of the flock in the trough, so that they might mate by the rods. But when the flock was feeble, he did not put them in. So the feebler was Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. So the men spread out exceedingly, and had large flocks, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Jacob said, yo, man, I'm ready to be done with this. At this point, I even take the lesser than livestock. Just get me up out of here. All right? Take me a sip of water. I feel like Jacob said, man, I done been working. All this time I done worked for your daughters. I done put in all this work even after getting your daughters. Done had all these babies. I need something of my own. I'm ready to branch out and be on my own. You know what I'm saying? But you can't blame a man. You know, a man should want his own for his family. You know? Anyway, let's keep going. Genesis 31, verse 1. Then Jacob heard the words of Laban's son, saying, Jacob has taken away all that belonged to our father, and from what belonged to our father, he has made all this wealth. And Jacob saw the face of Laban, and behold, it was not friendly toward him, as formerly. Then Yahweh said to Jacob, Return to the land of your fathers, and to your kin, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent and called Rachel and Leah to his flock in the field. And he said to them, I see your father's face, that is not friendly toward me as formerly. But the God of my father has been with me. You also know that I have served your father with all my power. Yet your father has cheated me and changed my wages 10 times. However, God did not allow him to harm me. If he spoke this, the speckle shall be your wages, then all the flock bore a speckle. If he spoke this, the stripe should be your wages, then all the flock bore a stripe. Thus God has delivered your father's livestock and given them to me. Now it happened at the time when the flock were mating that I lifted up my eyes and saw it in a dream, and behold, the male goats were mating, were striped, speckled, and molted. Then the angel of God said to me in the dream, Jacob. And I said, Here I am. He said, Lift up now your eyes and see that all the male goats which are mating are striped, speckled, and molded. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the God of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, where you made a vow to me. Now arise, leave this land, and return to the land of your kin. Then Rachel and Leah said to him, Do we still have any portion or inheritance in our father's house? Are we not counted by him as foreigners? For he has sold us and has also entirely consumed our purchase price. Surely all the riches which God has delivered over to us from our father belong to us and our children. Now then, do whatever God has said to you. Then Jacob arose and put his children and his wives upon camels. And he drove away all his livestock and all his possessions which he had accumulated. His acquired livestock which he had accumulated in Paddan Aram in order to go to the land of Canaan, to his father Isaac. Now Laban had gone to shear his flock. Then Rachel stole the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob deceived Laban the Aramean by not telling him that he was fleeing. So he fled with all that he had, and he arose and crossed the river and set his face toward the hill country of Gilead. Man, you see, they said Rachel done stole something. Let's see if that comes back to bite him. All right, let's keep going. Then it was told to Laban on the third day that Jacob had fled. So he took his relatives with him and persuaded him a distance of 7 days' journey. And he overtook him in the hill country of Gilead. And God came to Laban the Aramean in a dream of the night and said to him, Beware, lest you speak to Jacob, either good or bad. So Laban caught up with Jacob. Now Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country, and Laban with his relatives camped in the hill country of Gilead. Then Laban said to Jacob, What have you done by deceiving me and carrying away my daughters like captives of this sword? Why did you flee secretly and deceive me and not tell me, so that I may have sent you away with gladness and with songs, with tambourine and with lyre, and not allow me to kiss my sons and my daughters? Now you have acted foolishly. It is in my hand to do evil against you. But the God of your father spoke to me last night, saying, Beware of speaking either good or evil to Jacob. So now you have Dinah gone away because you have longed greatly for your father's house. But why did you steal my gods? This man said, Why did you steal my gods? Man, he don't even... Let's keep going. Then Jacob answered and said to Laban, Because I was afraid. Because I said, Least you take your daughters from me by force. The one with whom you find your gods shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, recognize what is yours. among my belongings and take it for yourself. But Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen them. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of two maidservants, but he did not find them. Then he went out to Leah's tent and entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household items and put them in the camel's saddle, and she sat on them. And Laban felt through all the tent, but did not find them. And she said to her father, let my Lord be angry that I cannot rise before you, for the manner of women is upon me. So he searched, but did not find the household idols. Now, maybe y'all can help me understand this. But when she said the manner of women is upon me, I'm assuming she is going through what I call it a cycle. I don't want to say the P word, but I think that's what she's saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what she's saying. That's a good excuse if that's what she's using. Let's keep going. Then Jacob became angry and contended with Laban. And Jacob answered and said to Laban, what is my transgression? What is my sin that you have hotly pursued me? Though you have felt through all my goods, and what have you found? All your household goods? Place it here before my relatives and your relatives, that they may decide between us two. These 20 years I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten the rams of your flocks. This man said 20 years. Woo! He must really love Rachel, boy. 20 years? Man. All right, let's keep going. All right, verse 39. That which was torn of beasts I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it myself. You required it of my hand, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. Thus I was by day, the heat consumed me, and the frost by night, and my sleep fled from my eyes. These 20 years I have been in your house. I have served you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flock, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the God of my father, the God of Abraham, and the dread of Isaac had not been for me, surely now you would have sent me away empty. God has seen my affliction and the toil of my hands, so he rendered the decision last night. Then Laban answered and said to Jacob, the daughters are my daughters, and the children are my children, and the flocks are my flocks. All that you see is mine. But what can I do this day to these daughters of mine, or to the children whom they have borne? So now come, let us cut a covenant, you and I, and let it be a witness between you and me. Then Jacob took a stone and raised it up as a pillar. Then Jacob said to his relatives, gather stones. So they took stones and made a heap, and they ate there by the heap. And Laban called it Jegar Sahadotha, but Jacob called it Gilead. Then Laban said, this heap is a witness between you and me this day. Therefore it was named Gilead. And Mizpah, for he said, may Yahweh watch between you and me you and me when we are absent from one another. If you afflict my daughters, or if you take wives besides my daughters, although no man is with us, see God as witness between you and me. And Laban said to Jacob, behold this heap, and behold the pillar, which I have set between you and me. This heap is a witness, and the pillar is a witness, that I would not pass by this heap to you for harm, and you will not pass by this heap and this pillar to me for harm. Then God of Abraham and the God of Nahor, the God of their father, judged between us. So Jacob swore by the dread of his father Isaac. Then Jacob offered a sacrifice on the mountain and called his relatives to eat a meal. They ate the meal and spent the night on the mountain. And Laban arose early in the morning and kissed his sons and daughters and blessed them. Then Laban departed and returned to his place. Man, Rachel got away with it. And all in all, it ended well. It was peaceful. You know, they made a covenant and everybody went their separate ways. Laban was able to properly give the goodbyes to his daughters and his grandchildren and whatnot. And it was no beef. That was Genesis 31. That's good, man. Let's keep going. Genesis 32. Verse 1. Now Jacob went on his way, and the angels of God met him. Then Jacob said when he saw them, "This is God's camp." So he named that place Mahanaim. Then Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He also commanded them, saying, "Thus you shall say to my lord, to Esau, thus says your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban and have been delayed until now. And I have oxen and donkeys and flocks and male and female slaves. I have sent to tell my lord, that I may find favor in your sight." Then the messengers returned to Jacob, saying, "We came to your brother, to Esau, and furthermore he is coming to meet you. 400 men are with him." Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people who were with him, and the flocks and the herds of the camels, into 2 camps. And he said, "If Esau comes to the one camp and strikes it, then the camp which remains will escape." And Jacob said, "O God of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, O Yahweh, who said to me, return to your land and to your kin, and I will prosper you. I am unworthy of all the loving kindness and all of the truth which you have shown to your slave. For with my staff only I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 camps. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he come and strike me down with the mothers and the children. For you said I would surely prosper you and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be numbered." So he spent the night there. Then he took from what he had with him a present for his brother Esau: 200 female goats and 20 male goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 milking camels and their colts, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male donkeys. And he gave them into the hand of his servants, every flock by itself, and said to his servants, "Pass on before me and put a space between flocks." And he commanded the first one in front, saying, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks you, saying, to whom do you belong and where are you going? And to whom do these animals in front of you belong? Then you shall say, these belong to your servant Jacob. It is a present sent to my lord, to Esau. And behold, he is also behind us." Then he commanded also the second, the third, and all those who follow the flock, saying, "After this manner you shall speak to Esau when you find him. And you shall say, behold, your servant Jacob is behind us. For he said, I will appease his face with the present that goes before me. Then afterward I will see his face. Perhaps he would lift up my face." So the present passed on before him, while he himself spent the night in the camp. And he arose the same night and took his 2 wives and his 2 servant women and his 11 children, and crossed the ford of the Jabbok. And he took them and sent them across the stream, and he sent across whatever he had. Let's stop right there for a second. Now, I don't know if y'all remember from the previous episodes what happened between Jacob and his brother Esau. If I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm remembering this right, I feel like Jacob was the one that stole the blessing from Esau, from their father Isaac. So now Jacob is nervous because he got to go back. So now Jacob coming back with, it's been 20 years. So he praying and hoping that, hey man, I hope Esau still ain't holding on to this, what I did back in 20 years ago that made me come all the way out here. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep going. Verse 24. Then Jacob was left alone, And a man wrestled with him until the breaking of dawn. And he saw that he had not prevailed against him. So he touched the socket of his thigh. And so the socket of Jacob's thigh was dislocated while he wrestled with him. Then he said, "Let me go, for the dawn is breaking." But he said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." So he said to him, "What is your name?" And he said to Jacob, Then he said, "Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed." Then Jacob asked him and said, "Please tell me your name." But he said, "Why is it that you ask my name?" And he blessed him there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, for he said, "I have seen God's face to face, yet my life has been delivered." And the sun rose upon him just as he crossed over Peniel, and he was limping on his thigh. Therefore, to this day, the sons of Israel do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is on the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of Jacob's thigh and the sinew of the hip. So Jacob's name got switched to Israel. Now, I didn't know that. That's something that I just discovered. And that's chapter 22, Genesis. Now, guys, we've been here for a little while now. It's time to wrap this up, guys. I want to say thank y'all for tuning in and listening, learning with me. Like I said, everything that I read today, if you got any inputs or anything you want to add and break down and help me understand and help the world that may be also watching and listening, understand, follow the Ways of Unity page at ways.of.unity on Instagram. There's also a Facebook page too called Ways of Unity. It's all the same. And if you watching this on YouTube, please hit the like, subscribe button, and also comment in the comment section of what you got from this. If you listening on one of the streaming services, I ask that you follow and like. If there's a rating, rate it. Let me know what I can be doing better. If you feel like I should go in a little bit more depth or whatever, how you just let me know. Like I said, this is a group effort. We're here together. We're here to learn together. We're here to build with God. We just trying to get to where God wants us to be in life. So when it's time to go home, when I'm talking about home, I'm talking about home, heaven. We can all see each other. I might not know all of y'all, might not be able to see all y'all face to face, but we all gonna be able to meet and greet in heaven. All right. But anyway, I love y'all, man. I appreciate the support. And y'all have a good night, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. I'll be looking forward to shooting another one, hopefully a couple of days from now. And just keep being on the lookout. And peace.